what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Foot Candle Films. Film news and reviews from two guys who really like movies.
This episode is brought to you by the Foot Candle Film Society. For a schedule of upcoming screenings and membership information, visit the Society's website at www.footcandle.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. My name is Alan Jackson. With me is Chris Fry. We are both with the Foot Candle Film Society, the annual Foot Candle Film Festival, and the podcast you're listening to right now, Foot Candle Films. Chris, how are you doing? Happy 4th of July to you. Hope you had a good weekend.
I did.
Anything to share?
Recommendation to listeners, if you are planning to have a cookout on July 4th, or you already have by the time you're listening to this, I would recommend checking out your grill prior to July 4th to make sure that it's, going to be okay to have people over and have a cookout. That being said, I did not, but we were able to purchase one, but then had to assemble it before the cookout started. But
Nice.
It got done. Everything was okay. Food was great. So, yeah.
Okay.
But just, word to the wise, just make sure your grill works a couple of days prior to July.
Good advice from Chris Fry there for your next holiday get-together.
That's right.
That involves any kind of piece of machinery or something to actually make the food or the event happen.
Yeah.
Make sure it's set to go.
Yeah.
But it was successful. You ended up. Everything was fine. Good. Good. Glad to hear. I did not cook anything out. I let other people do that for me.
Hey,
and,
that's also a good idea.
To be kind of a good way to make the weekend work as well. So, All right. Well, enough about our holiday adventures. Let's talk about what we're here to do in this podcast, which is talk about movies. We've got a film review we'll be doing here in just a moment. The review will be of the film In the Hand of Dante, the latest from writer and director Julian Schnabel, starring Oscar Isaac and a slew of others I'm sure we'll be talking about here momentarily. It is a Netflix original film, but we're going to be reviewing it here in just a moment, followed by a little bit of news items. I just have one news item to share, Chris, about an interesting project and kind of its change in status. I'll try not to get on a soapbox about it, but it is something a little more, there might be some political and or business wranglings going on in the background of this film. So that's something we'll have to talk about when we get to that news section. And Chris and I are going to, because it is July, it is almost exactly, like just a few days ago, I think was the exact midpoint of this calendar year. Am I right in saying that? Like
something
June
like that,
30th, July 1st, numerically
Around in
would
there.
be like kind of the middle of the calendar year. So what better time than to join in with what every other publication online seems to be doing, which is best films of the year so far. Now, we're only going to be basing that on the films that we have watched and recorded and logged for 2026. And because my list is a little on the short side, basically the films that we review for this podcast are about the only 2026 films I see. So I've asked that we maybe make our list, Chris, when we share with our listeners, our top 3 of the year so far, instead of going 5 or definitely not 10. I don't think I can pull that off.
Okay.
But I think I can at least come up with the top 3, our favorite 3 films of the year so far. It has to be 2026 releases that we've seen that we want to champion. And just to kind of keep things nice and balanced, we're also going to throw in our lowest rated film of the year so far, released in 2026.
Okay.
This is all based on our Letterboxd ratings that we keep up with. So that'll be kind of fun. I don't know what your top 3 are. I have not looked at your list on Letterboxd in a while.
Okay.
I don't know where you are. You probably don't know where I am. So we'll see how that ends up. And then I think you have a recommendation for us as well for the show today.
I do.
Chris is going to have a recommendation of a film he thinks might be worth our time to check out. So that is what we've got planned for today. Are you ready to get started, Chris?
Let's do it.
All right, here's our review of In the Hand of Dante.
Who's Dante?
Who's Dante?
Bro,
behold, a deity stronger than I who coming shall rule over me. What? I know this poem so well, I feel like I wrote it myself.
How would you like to look at the original manuscript?
It doesn't exist.
If it did exist,
I mean, it'd be the greatest literary treasure of all time. It'd be priceless.
we'll make it affordable.
What do you mean?
You can't tell nobody about these things. That's a sin. That's a bad sin.
Are you all right?
Yeah, forgive me. Something familiar about this place.
Familiar is good. Like home.
Reminds me of something I can't quite get a grip on.
Netflix has been able to attract our tour directors to their platform with the promise of, let us make your dream project. Alfonso Cuarón did so with his Oscar-winning black and white coming-of-age story, Roma. Martin Scorsese teamed up with Robert De Niro for The Irishman. And just last year, Guillermo del Toro brought to life his take on Frankenstein. This year, acclaimed painter turned director Julian Schnabel, he of Diving Bell and the Butterfly notoriety, has strung together an extensive cast including Oscar Isaac, Al Pacino, Gerard Butler, and John Malkovich to deliver In the Hand of Dante. My attempt to give a plot synopsis of the 150-minute film is as follows. A handwritten manuscript is discovered of Dante Alighieri's poem, The Divine Comedy. It makes its way from a priest to a mob boss, played by Malkovich, in New York City, where it is taken by author Nick Toscas, played by Isaac, after he's asked to verify its authenticity. Alan, what did you make of the film?
So, quick little backstory.
Sure.
Because I think it helps frame this conversation a bit. This is a film you and I talked about on this podcast
Yes.
a couple months ago.
Trailer
because-
top a second?
Yeah, we saw the trailer. It was the first I'd heard of this film.
Ditto.
I'm a huge fan of Diving Bell, the Butterfly is one of my favorite films. So
Same.
hearing Julian Schnabel doing something that sounded really interesting. I like Oscar Isaac a lot. The concept seemed very, very high-minded, but sounded interesting. The cinematography on it, from at least the trailer, looked really, really fascinating as well. So I'm like, all right, I'm on board with this. I want to give this a shot. Then I heard it was a Netflix original film. I'm like, okay, tempered a little bit, but that's still okay. I mean, I haven't quite come across that many Netflix original films that have just bowled me over, where I just say, yeah, that was the right format and platform for that film to be released in. So that
You're
was
including in that Roma, Irishman, and Frankenstein.
Yes. Correct. That is actually that's a good point. Yeah, Frankenstein, good example. Yeah, Del Toro doing Frankenstein sounds great. It's on Netflix. Okay. I mean, still could be good, but I did find myself maybe not enjoying it as much as I had hoped it could be. It's a little bit of missed opportunities. I kind of feel like it just kind of drops a little bit in its opportunistic value that it could provide for allowing these filmmakers to do the films they're doing. Anyway,
Okay.
I saw your Letterboxd rating for this film.
So you have been looking at Letterboxd.
I only looked for this film because we weren't going to review this. A couple weeks ago, we were hearing
It was a possibility, and
we were hearing some pretty negative things, and that wasn't even me seeking out that information. It was just being thrown on me on social media and everywhere else.
Sure.
That this movie was bad. And I'm like, well, okay, well, Chris has seen it. Surely, what does Chris think? And I saw Chris's rating. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay. So now I'm at a whole different level of expectation watching this film.
okay.
And I just watched it 3 hours ago. So I went into it knowing what the general consensus was, which is this is bad. I heard a lot. I saw words like pretentious, and I saw words like, just overindulgent and confusing and boring and so many other words. Chris is nodding his head. It feels like I might have previewed his review here in a second. But all that to say,
I mean,
Yeah,
it sounds like your expectations couldn't have been much lower. Okay.
I will say this is a flawed movie. Absolutely a flawed movie. There's a lot of ways I can regale how it is a flawed movie.
Okay.
And I do not recommend it to anybody. But there was enough curiosity to keep me engaged through the film. Even in the points that I'd started to lose interest, it still managed to somehow bring me back. And sometimes bringing me back in was through its really poorly handled scenes and dialogue and acting, but it still had something that's like, you talk about big swings in film, and you like to celebrate the big swings at the end of the year.
This will make that list.
This is a big swing.
This will make
it's a big swing, and I can't completely discard a film that's this big a swing.
Agreed.
However, it is flawed. It is problematic. There are issues with it all the way through. But I like what the guy's trying to do. I like what Schnabel's trying to do. I think there's a good movie here. You just have to replace.
It's called adaptation.
You just have to replace a lot of elements of this. Okay. I think you have to replace many of the actors. I think you have to change the storytelling devices involved. You need to shorten the runtime, and you need to cut out 2 or 3 very detailed, deep subplots and stories that make no impact on the overall story at the end of the day. I think there's a good movie here, but it would take a lot of butchering to do. So that being said, I did not like this movie, but I did find enough in there to say it's worth a watch out of a curiosity watch, but that's about it. So Chris, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. I know how you feel, but give me some details. What caused your rock bottom letterbox rating on this film?
Well, as you've mentioned, I do look back on the year once it's finished and say, here are a bunch of big swings that I admire. Usually give like a list of 10. This will absolutely make that list. Unfortunately, I wish I liked it better. Mm-hmm. It just seemed like nothing in it for me really worked at all. Mm-hmm. But I admire, to me, I kind of shouted out another title it reminded me of. I think when we talked about it, we watched a trailer, what I was envisioning, because there's like timeline jumping, and then there's also a little bit of the writer, Nick Toshis, is based on a real person who there was an author who had that name. So it kind of reminded me of Adaptation, the film by Spike Jonze, where Nick Cage played a filmmaker, Charlie Kaufman, trying to adapt a novel. Everybody's familiar with that movie. Anyways, this was kind of like maybe a twist on that, but kind of, something along those lines. And in the hands of Spike Jonze, it worked. In the hands of Julian Schnabel, unfortunately, it just really, 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 really did not work. Yeah. Just almost no choice made sense to me.
You're pretty close.
In the past, they used color in the film. In the present day, they used black and white, which I was like, okay, that's usually you would think you would flip flop that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of curious. A cameo that worked for me would be Al Pacino. Oh. He is, as a young man, Nick Toshis apparently has a formative moment that he talks with a family friend, uncle. I'm not really uncle. Okay, uncle. Mm-hmm. And Al Pacino kind of delivers this little speech. Some of the best acting I've seen Al Pacino do in a long time. It was really good. Unfortunately, he's there for that scene, then he's gone. Doesn't pop back
2
out.
minutes. Done.
As opposed to another, he's longer on screen, but it is a head scratching performance by Mr. Jason Momoa.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one too. But I got a second one. But go ahead.
Okay, no, as do I. Jason Momoa as a white suited with cowboy hat, like hitman type thing, and a crazy, crazy Italian accent. So
was it?
Right.
Okay. I couldn't place it. So.
Okay. Now, which I guess, at that point, this is, the last third of the film. That kind of kept me like, okay, what's going on here? It was at least amusing, but probably not in the way it was intended.
I think it was meant to be in a way, it was meant to be amusing, just like the whole use of the quote mobster gangster group was meant to be kind of tongue in cheek, humorous about stereotypical mob boss kind of pulling this. but it just didn't work. It did not work. And Jason Momoa, by this point in the movie, because he shows up in the last 40 minutes or so, by this point in the film, it's like, why not? Like, just throw it out there. Let's just see what happens.
do whatever.
And
So, yeah. And okay, now you're trying to, be some positives on it, as well as saying like, it'll make my list of, big swings. Malkovich, I feel bad. I feel bad for him and for Oscar Isaac, because I feel like they are trying to make this work, but they don't really know how to make it work. They don't really know what's going on. And yeah, I feel bad because it just doesn't work. Now, somebody who, they're again kind of on that comedic vein, kind of in a different movie. If this had just been an outright comedy, it'd probably would have worked maybe better if they would have like geared it that way. Gerard Butler, not a big fan of his, but he's been around for a while. However, his character, who is he's a henchman of the mob boss, John Malkovich's mob boss, is so weird.
Yeah.
And is so just kind of like bizarre. He actually makes the scene semi-entertaining because you don't know what he's doing.
Right.
It's like he doesn't have a script. He's just like playing off stereotypes and just making crap up as he goes.
Well,
You're like,
I
okay,
hated the way his character was written.
Sure.
Because it was so stereotypical. I'm the heavy of this mob group.
Sure.
And it was so ham-handedly
Ham-fisted,
written.
yeah.
Or ham-fisted. But Gerald Butler, at least, I agree, was trying to do something with
And he
it.
was, and
it was kind of fun to watch. So I'll give it that.
Yeah, there's a scene in a plane where they're like ping-ponging back and forth. And I think Oscar Isaac is he's just like, I don't know what's going on. And Gerard Butler looks like he is having a ball, just being weird. And Oscar Isaac's just kind of like struggling. And you're like, I feel sorry for you because in this scene, you're supposed to be like the serious person and he just gets to do whatever. And yeah, it just was, what a mess.
Well, Oscar Isaac, I do feel like this is a Oscar Isaac role. And I think he gave a Oscar Isaac performance in an Oscar Isaac role. I mean, it's like, it was, it was a good fit. And I actually think he's the one.
It's not that he's miscast. I think it's just a bad script.
Right. But I mean, I generally liked him in this performance.
Okay.
I just wish the film that he was being placed in worked better.
Sure.
Gerard Butler, kind of the same idea. His is a character issue. I think that character was just so on the surface written. I almost feel like Gerard Butler kind of gave it a little more depth in his performance, which I thought was at least fun to watch.
It was irritating to you, but yet you kind of enjoyed it.
Right.
I get you.
I got to disagree a little bit on Malkovich. I just felt like he's just cakewalking through this one, sleepwalking, cakewalking, whatever you want to call it. I don't feel like he was giving. I don't think he understood the film. I don't think he understood his role, and I definitely don't think he was cast correctly for playing.
No, not unless it's supposed to be a comedy. Then maybe, but I don't think that's
so.
the
It
point.
was just nothing about Malkovich's performance worked for me. And can we? You and I have talked in the past in previous episodes about a certain well-known famous director who has been showing up in supporting roles in films.
Yes,
and he's been doing such a good job of elevating some films that I didn't think were really that great. That film, the Jonah Hill film, Outcome.
Yes.
And then there's a Mandalorian film, which I thought, we're talking about Martin Scorsese, obviously the well-known director, who's been kind of doing small bit cameo parts in these films. And actually, he's been pretty good. I'm afraid that streak ended with this film because, yes, Martin Scorsese is in this film. He plays a kind of in the flashback time of Dante. He plays kind of Dante's mentor.
He goes by several different names, or at least two different names, depending on how well you know him.
I admire the fact that Scorsese's like, now I'm not doing an accent.
No.
Forget that.
No,
I'm not doing an
not.
accent. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to deliver my lines while wearing some great wardrobe. And that's it. And so, all the scenes with him, I felt like we just grind to a halt. It was bad. It just made no sense.
And it didn't help, too, that trying to deliver some philosophical dialogue that just sounded like it was poured out of a blender, and you're just like, do what? Like,
it was another place of not only poor casting, because it didn't fit for Martin Scorsese to be doing this.
Sure.
And then, the scripting. I think that's all. This film wants to be that dichotomy. It wants to be this interesting film that's like, on one hand, it's a slightly humorous but ultra violent mob.
It is pretty
mob
violent.
crime thing.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, it wants to be this philosophical, very high-minded about literary and inspirations and all this. And again, that's the big swing. And I admire, hey, Leah, let's see if we can do something with these two. But when you're leaving it to Martin Scorsese to be the one to try to help bridge some of that and deliver that, the more high-minded bit, and it doesn't land and it doesn't work, it just kind of ruins that whole mix of tone that the film's trying to go for, I think. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Just boggling to get there. And I will say, I have never, I don't think, taken advantage of this, but I did this time. Netflix allows you a playback speed variation.
Did you play this back at like 1.3
or 1.5? I think
1.5. You played it at
sometime
speed
because
wow,
which was also kind of because not all the way through, but definitely after about an hour and a half, because they're just seeing, you're just like, okay, I gotta get through this, and I wanted to finish it because I'm like, how is this going to end up? Sometimes subtitles would pop up when people were speaking English instead of Italian.
Yes.
You're like, okay, like
that
so some of the stuff, it was just like, did they just put them on because sometimes they were in Italian, so you did need them.
Yeah.
But it was inconsistent subtitles. It's just like slapdash.
It was also inconsistent language. I mean, there would be times where you would be, in a place where everybody's speaking Italian, and then all of a sudden one of them would start speaking English, but it was still being subtitled along the bottom. And it was really baffling.
Baffling. Yes.
I'll say, by the time we get to the end of the film,
yes,
I'm kind of plodding along. I'm trying to find something to connect to that I'm interested in.
Okay.
Late in the film, there's a little bit of a turn with the main character that I at least thought maybe felt like it gave the film a little bit of a jolt of energy for just a brief moment. The fact that it plugged in Rolling Stones' Jumpin' Jack Flash and did a whole sequence to that, I'm like, okay, well, you already had Scorsese in the film, so I guess that's kind of your way of weaving this in.
Yeah, that was an odd music drop. You're just like,
it
okay,
was.
whatever.
There were several odd music drops in general, and there's a little bit of a tonal shift with the main character, but then it kind of forgot about that tonal shift. Like there's a whole sequence where our main character is going through some things, but yet didn't seem like it had any impact on him after that scene. And by the time we get to the end,
yes,
on like a little dock, I mean, it was almost like a soap opera ending between 4 or 5 characters. I mean, I know it's trying to make this really dramatic crescendo of the film, and like, choices are made and people have consequences caught up with them. But it was so soap opera-ish. It was so, I don't know. I don't know how to explain without spoiling it, but just to say, I thought it was really poorly handled.
Okay.
I thought the ending was poorly handled.
Agreed.
Then the film does have a bit of a coda or epilogue that is a little meant to be a bit vague in a way. There's a visit, 2 characters visit a new character that we've never met before. And it's a little mysterious. And again, normally I would love this in a movie like this. This would be great. But yet the way it just was laid out here, it left more puzzlement than it did any kind of inspiring you to want to think about what this may mean. It was just more frustrating.
Yes.
Is that sum things up pretty good there?
Yes.
At the end?
I think so. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that is In the Hand of Dante. Obviously, you can tell Chris and I are not a fan of this movie.
No.
I will say this: I do think there's a place for curiosities in our movie going experiences. I think this is an interesting curiosity.
It's just oftentimes if I hadn't seen this film yet and I had continued to see scores pop up on Letterboxd and I've heard a podcast discussion of it, it makes me want to see it because I'm just like, I want to see how it didn't work because, some of the premises there, you have a lot of actors, you have a director who we know can direct films. And it's just like, I just want to see it. And then after seeing it, I'm like, yes, this definitely did not work in the least bit for me, but I'm still glad I saw it because it just, I don't know.
I almost
makes
feel like
you appreciate movies that do work.
Sure. Yeah. And if I really try to sit down and think, okay, what is the element of this film that just made it not work? I can't pin it on one thing. It's almost like the ideas to form these different elements of this film were well-founded and there was a vision of what this thing could be. But it was almost like you have a puzzle and you can visualize what the end of the puzzle, what it should look like on the board. But once you start putting the pieces out, none of the pieces are fitting together. And it's like you end up with something that looks nothing like what that end puzzle was meant to look like. I kind of feel like that's where this is. It's like all the right elements were being put together. We got a good cast. Mm-hmm. We've got a very interesting concept of a film. Yeah. It's based on some source material, but we're going to take a little bit more of a meta approach to it,
which generally I'm all on board with.
We're gonna play with some different tones. We've got kind of a classical, spiritual, literary high-mindedness to it, but we're also going to mix it with a mob boss, ultra-violent type of thing. It's like, okay, all that can work. It's just when you lay it down on the table and you start putting them together, does it fit? And this is a perfect example of a film where these elements did not fit.
Agreed.
So, yeah. Which is a shame. I think it's more for me, it's a shame that it didn't work because this could have worked and it should have worked. It didn't work. Right. So, yeah. All right.
Agreed.
Well, it's also 2.5 hours long, which that's a little...
It hurts it.
It is tough when it's a movie that is not working for you and you're like an hour into this thing and you're like, nothing about this is really connecting with me.
That's when
and to know you got another hour and a half, it's like, boy, that's a tough feeling when watching a movie. It really, really is. So
it's tough.
Okay. Well, that is in The Hand of Dante. It's an interesting curiosity to check out, but we're not recommending it because, 2.5 hours is a long time and a big chunk of your day in your life. And we don't want to recommend you use it necessarily for watching this film, but it's a shame. Hopefully Julian Schnabel can kind of regroup and figure out kind of a different take to take with his next film, or at least make the pieces fit a little better next time around. So
I'll say, Merriam-Webster defines purgatory as an extremely unpleasant, difficult, or agonizing situation of suffering and waiting. And I can add to that, it lasts 150 minutes because that's this film.
Well said. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for us. That is In the Hand of Dante, playing on Netflix right now. Check it out if you're so intrigued. After
Oscar Isaac completist. Yeah.
Sure. Right. Yeah. If you're one of those. So, all right. Okay, Chris, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I've got a little bit of news to share about a interesting production status change with a big name director. And also we're going to hit our top 3 and bottom 1 film so far of the 2026 release year, just to kind of mark the midway point of the year. And Chris's recommendation coming up. Stay tuned. You're listening to Candle Films. We'll be right back.
Want to discover great podcasts or maybe even start one of your own? Welcome to The Mesh, Western North Carolina's podcast network built for creators and listeners alike. From local sports and business to comedy and culture, The Mesh is home to unique voices and fresh perspectives. Do you have something you want to say? The Mesh can help you bring your podcast to life with the tools, support, and platform you need to be heard. Check us out at themesh.tv, where great podcasts live and new ones are born.
Welcome back to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. Alan Jackson, Chris Fry with you here. We just finished our review of In the Hand of Dante. Disappointing.
Yes.
frustrating. Not a good time, but that's done. Let's move our attention onward.
Sure.
Chris, before we get to our top films of the year so far that you and I are going to rattle off for our listeners here in a few moments, I do want to just throw out one news item. It was something I was going to mention last week because that's when kind of stuff was happening with this. But we already had a full slate. I didn't have time, so I punted it to this week.
Okay.
And because I have, there's actually been a little bit more of a development in this story in just this past week.
Okay.
Luca Guadagnino, a director that I really like. What was the last film we saw?
Was it Challengers?
Well, that was the last one we talked about of his, I think. Which I loved. I did not see After the Fall. Isn't that the one with Julia Roberts and Andrew Garfield?
You're right. I didn't see that one either.
Yeah, we missed that one.
We saw Queer, which
Disney
was
Queer,
after
which
Challengers.
I didn't care as much, but I at least appreciated what was going on there.
Sure.
Anyway, interesting director.
Sure.
He's I think with Challengers, he's kind of hit a little bit more of a clout level where, people are paying attention to what projects he's working on and involved.
Call Me By Your Name was a really big one.
That was the one that kind of brought him into the award
Yes.
indie spotlight there. And then Challengers kind of knocked him up to a much higher level visibility wise.
Right.
So nevertheless, what he does, he works on some very interesting projects.
Agreed.
Absolutely interesting projects. So he started working. We actually mentioned this as a news item several months ago, that he had started work or was working on a film called Artificial. And the film is about OpenAI, which is the company that makes ChatGPT. Sam Altman is the leader, CEO, boss guy of OpenAI. So Artificial was going to be a movie about Sam Altman and OpenAI. The film had some good actors in it. I think it was Andrew Garfield was playing Altman, Sam Altman. You had Ike Barinholtz playing Elon Musk. Artificial was set up to chronicle the incredibly consequential days leading up to the sudden firing and reinstatement of Sam Altman as CEO of OpenAI, which is, I remember that happening in the past year and a half, 2 years. Mm-hmm. That happening where he was fired by his board, but then got reinstated fairly soon afterwards. Sounds like there was some drama involved in that, so that's where Guadagnino was going to go and explore in that. Because at the center of that is the whole question of who gets to control technology at the center of an AI arms race that hangs in the balance. This is according to Variety's write-up of this story. So here's the problem. Amazon was the producer of the film.
Okay.
Amazon was going to be releasing it. It was in the final stages of post-production.
So already shot.
Okay. Pretty much already done. It was already getting some test screenings and all of that as well.
Okay.
And Amazon then decided it was going to drop the film. So basically it said it's not going to distribute it. It kind of pulls a little bit different than what Warner Brothers did with like
Warner
Batgirl.
Brothers always does.
The difference is they shelved it, those films. Amazon didn't shelve the film and say, nope, we're not releasing it. It's never going to see the light of day. They basically just stepped away from it and said, yeah, we're not releasing this film anymore.
So they're willing to sell the rights. They're just like, we're not going to be involved with
Amazon MGM Studios announced that it believed it would be, quote, better served if it were released by a different studio.
Okay.
So there's that. So then a lot of other companies got a chance to see the film.
I mean, hello, Netflix. Do you want to?
Netflix was one. A24, Focus, all decided they're not going to pursue it either.
Really?
Yeah. Now, what we don't know is why. Is it that the movie's bad? I mean, it's possible.
Movie making is a business.
Yep.
So if everybody sees it, it's like, nope.
That's not something we want to release or something that's going to work for us. Or what's possibly more concerning, the reason many people believe Amazon stepped away from the project is Amazon had also just recently signed a big partnership deal with OpenAI to do some world in that. So it's like, you want to believe that it's not because of some political or business-related reasons.
So then you would assume A24 doesn't want to touch it either because they've done the whole thing that we
don't
talked
know.
about. Yeah.
Don't know. We don't know if it's that
man.
or if it's that the movie's just not something they want to be attached to because it's not good. Okay. We don't know. But that's it's a shame.
That is a shame.
To hear that, because my belief is like somebody released this film. It's a known director. It's a known cast. It's a interesting subject matter. If the film's bad, the film's bad. Release it, and we can all say, "Yep, the film's bad." But I get it. It's a business.
Yeah.
There's money involved in distributing films, and if a studio looks at it and says either A, that film's not worth us putting money to distribute it, or if we put money to distribute this, are we jeopardizing some business relationship or some optics that we want to keep?
Right.
We talked about how A24 was partnering with somebody to do some AI work,
Right.
to research work for filmmaking. So
Sure.
again, I think there's just a lot of landmines being laid with this project, which is why I want to see it even more.
Me too.
I definitely want to see it. This Variety article mentions the fact that, keep in mind that there was a $50 billion investment, that Amazon just made a major partnership with OpenAI less than a year after Altman's relationship with Jeff Bezos was underlined by his appearance at the Amazon boss's wedding. Yeah. It's like just... Now, Variety has heard that the test screenings were positive.
Okay.
But the studio still chose to exit, which raises eyebrows about their motivations. So anyway, it's a shame to hear. I don't like hearing it, but there is some light at the end of the tunnel here. Neon has now opted to pick up the film.
They're not anywhere with they're not doing anything with AI.
They're like, we're not involved. We're fine. We'll do it. So Neon supposedly is now going to release the film. Luckily, good to hear. And so it will be seen.
Good.
The film is currently in the final stages of post-production. They're eyeing a festival launch at South by Southwest. They had been eyeing one before Amazon got rid of it.
Sure.
Could be potentially in play for a slot at the Venice Film Festival.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, Bones and All. That's another Guadagnino film I really liked. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like Vampire with Timmy.
It was good. Neon has committed to launching an awards campaign for Artificial to enter this year's Oscar race.
Awesome.
So we will all get a chance to see it, which is good to hear.
Yeah.
It's just sad that it sounded like there were some machinations at place that might have prevented this. And I'm glad now Neon has come in and we'll roll the dice and get it out there and see what happens.
Agreed.
Okay. So that was my one news item to share. with
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Now, Chris, let's do something kind of fun here.
Okay.
As I mentioned at the top of the show, publications all over the place are looking for new content to put up on their website. So a lot of them have leaned into the best films of the year so far, because we are just having passed June 30th, which is, you could argue, is kind of the middle of the year, July 1st. Here we are just a few days past that. So it sounds like a good time. Let's jump in and let's join in the fun.
Okay.
Let's talk about our favorite films so far of the calendar year 2026. Now, we're just going to be looking at ones that are technically 2026 releases. Is that correct? Is that how you filtered your list as well? Or there could be some gray area?
There's a little bit of a gray area, but I'll get there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
But the two of the three are definitely 2026. The other one is a little gray. But
Okay. All right. Well, I filtered, the way I did this is I took my letterbox list, filtered it down to 2026 films, and the films that were released in 2026, I have got them sorted by my star rating. And so we can rattle off our top three that we have for this year so far. And it's your call whether you want to actually say that they're in a particular order, or it's just, these are just top three in general.
Gotcha.
I think I've got a little bit of a rating, a sorting to the three on my end, but would you like to go first? Would you like to tell us one of your top three, whether it's like number three or just one of the three in general?
I'll say one of the three, because right now, honestly, I don't know that I can do a specific ranking in order. So I'm just going to kind of throw them out there. Mm-hmm. But I'll say, maybe this is the third one. So it'll be Backrooms. You can go back and listen to our review of the film. I was pretty high on it. It just has kind of stuck with me. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I have not had a chance to, actually with none of these three, have I had a chance to go back and watch it again. Mm-hmm. But even without watching it again, just the ideas and kind of the uniqueness of the film, that's a lot. That's kind of the underpinning thread that's going to run through my 3 highest films or my favorites of the year is they've been very unique for different reasons. And this one, basically, what made it unique was the guy's a YouTube, Kane Parsons, he's a YouTube dude, was completely unfamiliar with him, comes out, does this movie, and it's just weird. And it worked for me. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff I could see why people would say it's clunky. Maybe it's too slow. It's maybe silly in that it tries to do some horror movie things that don't work, but it worked for me. And I can see why it wouldn't work for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So that's my third one or I think my third, but it's one of the first 3. It's Backrooms.
Okay, great. Backrooms. That's good. Yeah,
that one that you have seen. So
yeah, I have. It's on the top half of my list for the year, not in the bottom half. So yeah, I feel like the film was good. It was better than I think it was expected to be, or better than it maybe was kind of expected. Yeah, planned to be.
Sure, made more money than people probably thought. Oh, it was
absolutely
going to,
made more money than planned.
Sure.
Okay, good.
And that was a 2026 release. So
yeah. Number 3, and I'll tell you it's tough. I only have one film that I really feel like is like a favorite film of the year so far.
Okay.
So I'm having to dip down into like my 3.5 stars.
Okay.
To get my other 2.
Which is still,
No, they're still good.
On
but
the high end, but still, I get you.
So this is a 3.5. I've got like 5 or 6 of them to pull from, but this is the one I think if I had to watch any one of these again, this would be the one I would do. And it is Sam Raimi's Send Help.
Okay.
I just had a lot of fun with this movie, had a lot of fun with the style of the film. I had a lot of fun with Rachel McAdams' performance. It was just a good, fun film. I enjoyed quite a bit. I like that it was a film that had no previous IP based on. There was no universe building. It's nothing. It's just a good standalone horror / thriller / slightly comedy film, and it worked for me. And it was nice to see Sam Raimi kind of getting to play in his sandbox the way he likes to. So I like Send Help. That's probably one of my top 3 for the year so far.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was one of the ones when we were trying to cobble together the list before we started recording. It popped up, and I was like, "Oh, Send Help!" And it almost made one of my 3, but it's definitely it's barely on the outside looking in. But yeah, I was a big fan, and also no expectations for the film, which is always a good thing for me going in because then it's like, that way things don't suffer because of the expectations. Exactly. But yeah, Send Help, a good one.
Okay, good. Well, what's another one of your top 3 films for the year so far?
This one is the one that I was a little bit unsure, but it turns out it did a lot of festivals in 2025, but then officially, apparently, according to Letterboxd, got released in theaters in 2026 in February. So this does count. Sure. It's Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Mm-hmm. I've recommended it on the show. You can now stream it a couple of places, I think, or you rent it online, including actually if you are a Letterboxd member, they have a little video store there. You can rent it from there. It's a comedy. It is a buddy film, and it has a little bit of the staged like Borat idea where they have people, it's on camera. Some of that going on. And I don't really want to say too much else about it. Yeah, sure. But because there's kind of with this one too, kind of going in, not really knowing what you're getting into, it can be a really satisfying experience. This would probably have been my number 1 film of the year if I had been able to see it in a theater with people. I was so bitter that I had to rent it and watch it at home. Still really good, but like this one I really think would have benefited because just, especially if people like if I'd got, you don't really know what you're doing there. You don't really, and you're just like, wait, what is this doing? And like kind of the reactions of the theater crowd, I think would have been amazing. But as it is, I still like it. Obviously it's one of my 3. So that's Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Okay. Good. And that is unfortunately one I've still yet to catch up with. Have to watch that. I did do a little checking there just for a second. I've got one film that probably would have been in my top 3, but I was questioning whether to count it as a 2026 release. I saw it in 2026.
Okay.
It came to theater. I had access to in 2026, but it's technically listed as a 2025 film. So I'm just going to slide this in really quick.
That's kind of, I mean, that was the film I just mentioned, but technically,
I'm just going to, it was a epic Elvis Presley in concert.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That one, yes, technically it's a 2025 film, but I did see it in 2026. It made it to theaters available to us in 2026. So
gotcha.
Anyway, that one I'm going to slide in. I think that was just a really great theatrical experience to be a part of and enjoyed it quite a bit. But that's not really one of my official 3. I just wanted to kind of weave that in.
Oh, so that was a bonus.
That was a bonus one.
Okay. Fair enough.
No, my number 2, well, yeah, I guess for the year so far, it was The Sheep Detectives.
Nice.
I love The Sheep Detectives, man. I just thought that was a really great, fun, entertaining film. It was a murder mystery that actually had a mystery to it. It was, talking animals, which I like when done well. Great voice actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great setting, great environment, great cast of characters around them. I really had a lot of fun with The Sheep Detectives. So that is on my top 3 right now for the year so far. So
fair enough. It is just like Sin Help, the other film you mentioned. It is. I gave it 4 stars in Letterboxd, really high on it. It's just outside, barely looking in. So, but no, and I think again, one I've only seen once. So if I were able to revisit it, that might help get it a little higher for me. But
I think that was a really great surprise how pleasant and fun and enjoyable that film was. So.
Agreed.
All right. Well, Chris, what's your number 1 or last one on your list?
Sure.
Best of the year so far.
So, and I've already, unfortunately, because this film came out so early in the year, maybe one of the first big releases that we talked about here on the show. But I look back and I see my rating in Letterboxd. I gave it 5 stars. I gave it a heart. It is 28 years later, The Bone Temple.
Yes.
It is now available on Netflix, so I need to go and watch it again. But I think that expectation-wise, I was surprised that I liked 28 years later as much as I did, because it was like, yeah, you're returning to this. We've had films, but Danny Boyle didn't. I'm like, no, and I have watched 28 years later. I watched it again right before Bone Temple, and I still really enjoyed it. But I was thinking, okay, with the Bone Temple, Nia DaCosta, good director, but I'm like, yeah, but I just don't know what more they can bring to. I feel like what new ideas they had, they kind of gave us. And then there's like this. I'm like, well, okay. But no, Ray Fiennes, man, he is just so good. And just not something, I mean, he was good in the little bit he was in 28 years later. He's good in that. But I don't know. And just some unexpected turns the movie kind of takes. And it's like it just slows down and just focuses on this one little part of this, zombie outbreak or whatever. I just found it really fascinating. Now, what will happen with the next installment, because there is a 3rd movie they're doing when Danny Boyle comes back, don't know. Will that be the installment that drops off the momentum and then this franchise ends? Don't know. But I was just really impressed with 28 years.
No, that's a good call.
Bone Temple.
Call. Yeah. I didn't love it as much as you. I appreciated it. I thought I enjoyed it, but it was very much a middle of the pack film for me of the year so far. But glad it worked for you. It worked for a lot of people. So it was unfortunately it didn't work box office wise, which I hope that doesn't jeopardize getting that final film. I mean, they've got to have that final film released. It has to happen. So
I feel like, but I don't know.
We'll see. So I think my favorite film of the year so far, and again, I probably need more time to really digest and make sure I'm feeling this way. And of course, we'll have the end of the year. We'll really kind of solidify this. I think right now my favorite of the film of the year so far is The Drama by Christoph Borgli.
Yeah.
I was already excited to see this film because I really like Borgli's film Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage. I just thought that film worked great and really enjoyed it. So I was excited to see this one. And I like the fact that there were a little bit of controversy about the film and some of the subject matter and all that. So going in, I was ready to go on this, and it didn't let me down. I really found myself really intrigued by this film. I found it very, very darkly funny in the right doses. I think it handled a very, very sensitive subject matter in a way that I think was a very natural way to handle it. Yes, it's upsetting at times, but I also find that to be part of the admiration of the film. Is I think it was willing to go in this direction. It did tackle this kind of subject matter, but putting it all into a relationship comedy drama. And it just kind of worked for me at the end of the day. It worked quite a bit, actually. So the drama, I think, is my favorite film released this year so far, which is surprising. I would not have thought that until I really sat down and looked at my film listings and ratings. I'm like, no, it's up there. That's it.
I liked the film. I see him letterboxed. It should 3.5 stars, but I think I need to revisit it again. I think because of which it's supposed to, I get it, the kind of crazy tones shifts that are in it. I think it kind of took me by surprise, and because of some of the troubling stuff that's in there, which is supposed to be troubling, I think it maybe made me feel uneasy. Again, intentional. I want to revisit it and see what my experience was, because there's enough in there that I like it that now that I have distance from it, I'm kind of like 3.5. That seems kind of low. So again, something I can totally see how it's your favorite film of the year. Need to revisit it, but definitely an interesting one for sure.
But I will say this, for what it's worth. I mean, if I look at the films that have been released this year, if I say the drama is my favorite of the year so far, it's a 4-star for me.
Okay.
Which means I haven't had any 4.5s or 5s.
Nice. Oh, interesting.
And actually, I think the drama is the only 4-star film I've got so far this year. So what I'm saying is there's a wide open swath of films, hopefully late in the year, that are going to be ones I'm really going to carry away as like favorites of the year, because so far haven't been that many films I could say I've really loved released this year. Now, I've seen other films, from other years, but talking about the ones released this year, it's not the biggest, it's not the strongest list in the world quite yet. So, but I think that's kind of normal for first half of the year. I mean, that's typically speaking, the better films tend to come out later in the year.
The heavy hitter award seeking films, typically,
Speaking of films not quite hitting that level, do we want to mention our lowest rated film in Letterboxd?
Sure.
Released for 2026.
Sure. And
maybe give a one-line reason for why that film is, we feel like the lowest rated one.
Sure.
You went first with your favorites, and I got to cap it off. So let's swap. I will tell my lowest rated, because I'm pretty sure I know what your lowest rated is.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Yep. But my lowest rated, I intentionally chose something different. I had 2 rated about the same at the end, but I'm going to choose a different one. Scream 7.
Oh, which I have not seen.
Yeah, Scream 7, I think, is just a bad movie.
Okay.
Bad movie. And I'm not a Scream horror aficionado.
You've seen probably the first 2, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Which I think I'm on the same boat. I think
Right.
I've seen just the first 2.
So, would I have gotten more enjoyment from this if I'd seen all other installments? No. I actually think I may have liked it even less.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was just a lazy film that was just made no sense, and dumb character choices, paper thin characters in general. It was just not fun.
Okay.
So anyway, Scream 7's my lowest rated film that has been released in 2026 that I've seen this year. And Chris, what is yours?
Well, no surprise. It is In the Hand of Dante.
Wow.
And if you need a reason why, just listen to our review. Yeah, I admire the big swing. So unlike, Scream 7, I do admire the fact that it got made and that it's taking a big swing, but it just, swing and a miss. miss.
That is really interesting. So I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was going to be Outcome.
No, and I'll say quick verification on that. Yeah. So yes, Outcome I also did not like, but there were enough moments in there. Specifically, let's talk about Martin Scorsese and his scene. That it kind of worked. There were some moments in there that worked. But a lot of that movie did not work. But this movie, for me, just nothing worked. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, I mean, that's all right. So there you had a nice capstone to the episode in general. We started with the review of the film, and it ended up being Chris's lowest rated of the year so far. Now, again, we are only halfway through the year.
that's right.
So, there's still a lot of time to build up some good films later in the year. And we'll obviously do this again at the end of the year. It's kind of our best of the whole year, but that's where we are halfway through.
Sure.
So, good to know where we stand so far. All right, Chris. Well, that wraps up most of the show, except for one last piece we've got, which is your recommendation. Chris likes to give a recommendation of a film. It doesn't have to be a film from this year. It can be a film from any year, but it's something that either he caught up with now, got to see for the first time, or is kind of recalled and wants to bring back to our attention. So, Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you. What do you have for us as a recommendation this week?
So I'm going to recommend a film called Sunlight. It came out in 2024, but I just recently caught up with it streaming online. I don't know if it had a theatrical release, or maybe, I'm not sure, maybe it just did a festival tour, but I'd been on the lookout for this film because I'd heard some things about it, and it popped up on a streaming service called Tubi, which is free, unfortunately, with ads. But let me give you the plot synopsis. Disappearing into a monkey costume and creating a new persona, Jane strives to break free from a toxic relationship when she encounters a suicidal radio show host, Roy, who presents a path to freedom. After hitting the open road in Roy's Airstream, the unlikely duo soon hatch a plan that could help finance a new life, but could also land them in jail. Hot on their heels is Jane's controlling partner, Wade, who aims to put an end to Jane's newfound freedom. This was directed by Nina Conti, who also stars as Jane. It's an odd film, and the commitment to her being in a monkey costume, yes. But the way, just with her voice and little turns of the head in the monkey costume, it's a really odd film. But it did work for me, and it's interesting. I wonder, Nina Conti, I think got her background in comedy and doing stand-up type things, and I wonder what she will do. And I think she's British, so wondering what she will do post this, what her next film or endeavor might be. But that's Sunlight. It is streaming on Tubi, Tubi.
Sunlight on Tubi.
Yes.
Okay. Not familiar with it at all. That is a brand new one for me. So, all right. Good. Well, thank you for the recommendation on that, Chris.
Sure.
Great. All right. Well, and that's going to wrap us up for today. We had our review of In the Hand of Dante. We did our little bit of news item about Artificial, the open AI movie that was dead for a little bit and then got resurrected thanks to Neon.
Just like Sam Altman being the CEO.
Same idea.
Yeah.
Same
Dead for
idea.
a little bit, came back.
We shared our favorite films of the year so far as of the June 30th or July 1st date here in 2026. And then Chris gave his recommendation of Sunlight, available on Tubi, that you can check out. So, Chris, anybody who wants to chime in and join the conversation, how can they do so?
You can send us or get in contact with us by sending an email to info@footcandle.org. You can leave us a voicemail at the mesh.tv website, where you can also check out past Foot Candle Film episodes, as well as other podcasts on various subjects from barbecue to comedy to mental health. We're also on Facebook at Foot Candle Film Society and other social platforms as Foot Candle Film. Do us a favor if you like the show, considering giving us a review on whatever platform you receive your favorite podcast on, because it'll help us reach new listeners. We'd appreciate that. The 2026 Foot Candle Film Festival is coming September 18th through the 27th, and we will be releasing the lineup for that festival within the month. So stay tuned, and we'll be releasing that, and we think it's going to be one of our best festivals yet. So hope you can join us.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll look forward to seeing you all in September when we have our next Foot Candle Film Festival. And again, information coming out here in the next few weeks about that, with lists of films, lists of schedules, ways to get tickets, and all of that good stuff. So with that, we're going to wrap up the show. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll be back next week with more movie talks, news, reviews, and so forth. Until then, take care.
See you in the ticket line.
Watch films in the company of like-minded people in the dark.
Special thanks to Carpal Tuller for the show theme music. For more about Carpal Tuller, visit www.carpaltuller.com. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.